And we are live. Welcome back, everybody. Are we ready for Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake? Sound working, video working, everything working? Personally, I am extremely excited. This is one of my favorite games in the whole series. So, yeah, I'm very stoked. Like, I'm trying to give everybody a minute to trickle in. Hey, Luciation! I'm so glad you could make it. So, there's a few games that are like top tier for me in this series because of aesthetic. Like, Danger on Deception Island is peak aesthetic. And I love that game. I love it. But I feel like while it's probably my favorite, it's not necessarily the one that I replay the most. Like Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake and Secret of Shadow Ranch, I replay so much. This one, I last played, I think in 2020. So I meant to check before I booted up, but I forgot. Whoopsie. So yeah, so this one I've played a lot more recently than the other ones that I've been streaming. So I have a lot more of the puzzles memorized, and there are parts of it where I've played it so many times that I know exactly what I want to do here, and I just have the whole sequence optimized. Also, there's a maze. There's these paths through the woods that are a maze, and I have the maze memorized. Like, the maze is no longer a challenge for me. I know all of the turns. I don't get lost there. I don't have a sense of direction. Do you have any idea how many times I have to have played this game to have the maze memorized? So. Alright. But I also don't want to just sit in the main menu monologuing forever, so we should probably get started.
Welcome to my latest case, Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake. To start playing, choose either Junior or Senior Detective. If you're new to adventure games or need some help, choose Tutorial.
Well, I'm definitely not new to adventure games. So, we are going to do Junior Detective because Senior is scary. Maybe someday I'll play one of them on Senior. Maybe I'll just do Junior forever. Alright, Junior Detective, here we go.
Dear Ned, remember Sally McDonald, the woman who took those photos that Dad has up in his office? Well, she just bought a house in Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. A gangster named Mickey Malone built it back in the 20s as his country getaway. We're talking major fixer-upper. Anyway, last night Sally called and she said she desperately needed my detective skills. She refused to say why over the phone. Naturally, I said I'd drive to Moon Lake immediately. But weird things started happening the moment I pulled up. First, this big tree fell down behind my car and has me totally blocked in. And then I discovered that Sally's gone. She left a note that suggested something terrible happens here at night. She's supposed to call me from her car. So here I sit, writing to you while I wait for the phone to ring. It's nighttime, and although part of me is dying to know what frightened Sally away, another part of me is starting to feel a little uneasy. I'll let you know what happens. Ever yours, Nancy.
All right. Oh, Luke asks, what's different in Senior? So in Senior Detective, when you call your friends, you can talk about the case with them, but they won't give you hints. You can't ask for hints from them to get unstuck. And in the games that have like to-do list options, the Senior version doesn't have the to-do list. Oh my gosh, we have a personal data assistant. We have a personal data assistant. Case notes. Sally McDonald called, asked me to come to Moon Lake, needed a detective, wouldn't say why. Then phone numbers, so she can keep notes and phone numbers in it, and it's right in her pocket. Wow. Okay, so this is in Pennsylvania. Would that be Appalachia? Like, where is Moon Lake, Pennsylvania? Moon Lake isn't a real place, but could it conceivably be Appalachia? Because, let me tell you, especially when we get outside, this place feels very familiar to me. Let's see. That's pretty cool. Yes, I'm ogling the furniture. I can't help myself. We have a cool cool cuckoo clock. Oh! Alright, there's the phone call.
Hello?
Nancy, hi, it's Sally. We have to talk fast because I'm in my car and my cell phone's running low, so we might get cut off. But did you see my note?
Yes, are you all right?
No, I feel awful bailing on you like that. You must think I'm such a flake.
I'm just worried about you. What's wrong?
I couldn't stand the thought of spending another night there. I knew you were on your way, but it didn't help. I just got too scared.
Hey, Roy, thanks for the sub. I really appreciate it. Good to have you back. Ooh, let's go with you. Make it sound like the house is haunted or something. That sounds fun. I am so ready for spooky season. I refuse to start celebrating Halloween as early as people have been celebrating Halloween because everybody started in August. And I'm not doing that. Like, August is August. But spooky season is starting soon. Spooky season for me starts at the autumn equinox. And I have big plans for spooky season, and I am so ready. So, how are you doing? How was your weekend?
You make it sound like the house is haunted or something.
Not the house, the woods. Just
Ooh.
wait until it gets dark, then you'll see. What am I saying? Nancy, you shouldn't be there by yourself either. Why don't you just go get in your car and go home? Or drive to Philadelphia. My aunt's got plenty of room.
Let's see. Roy says the weekend was too long and I'm haunted. I get that. I very much get that.
No way. You've got me so curious, I wouldn't leave even if I could.
What do you mean?
Let's see.
A tree fell down behind my car just as I was driving up to the house. I'm blocked in.
Oh, the dead maple beside the driveway. Oh, they told me it was in danger of falling over when I had the place inspected. I just never got around to doing anything about it. Listen, call M's Emporium. That's a store on the lake. Emily knows everybody. She'll know who to call if she decides to answer her phone.
It's late. Won't the store be closed?
Where's my brain?
Mood.
Okay, look. I just bought a little outboard motorboat. I haven't used it yet, but the guy who put it in for me said it should run just fine. It's tied up at the dock out front. Just get in it and go. Go anywhere. Just get away from the house.
Roy says, falling and I can't get up. You know what? I didn't check to see if this game has Easter eggs. Luke says she'd know who to call. Could it be the Ghostbusters? Maybe. Oh, I forgot to post in the Discord that we were live. Whoops.
I can't just take off in your boat. It's pitch black outside.
Then listen to me. Go around the house and lock all the doors and windows. Do that right now.
There aren't any locks on the doors and windows. What are you so afraid of?
The dogs!
Ooh.
Dogs! Out of nowhere. They're outside howling and snarling. Teeth and claws. Horrible.
Dogs? Hello? Did you say dogs? Hello?
Oh, Luke, you can use @everyone to make sure that people get the notification. I'm trying to learn how to use Discord better. Check out squeaking. Mice?
is that?
Yeah, we're in Appalachia, right? Also, hold up. She said she had left a note. Get dead tree cut down. Too late. Here we go, Nancy. I'm really, really sorry, but I just can't face another night here. I'm going to my aunt's in Philadelphia. Doors open, make yourself at home. We'll call you from my car. Cell phone number, blah blah. PPS, please don't hate me. Okay. Get well water tested ASAP. Oh, flashlight. And forest trails. Harry, thought you could use this map to the cemetery. You'll find lots of bait along the way, especially at night. The cemetery's real hard to find. I got lost a bunch of times. Happy fishing, George. Let's see. Benjamin asks, where are the ghostly puppers? We should see them fairly soon, I think. Okay, so we just found the map to the forest maze, which I actually have memorized. Like, I don't need the map. I'll be fine. I've replayed this game a lot of times. Also, hello Benjamin! Welcome, welcome! How was your weekend? Yeah, weird noises. Okay.
The moon's so bright, I won't need my flashlight.
Gosh, that's beautiful.
Something's out there.
Now look what you've done. That was a Strixvaria. At least I think it was. Never know for sure now, will I?
I'm sorry, but you startled me. What are you doing out here?
Birds. I'm trying to look for birds. What are you doing out here?
I'm Nancy Drew. I'm staying in this house, and I heard a lot of weird noises, so I came out here to investigate.
That was me, Miss Nancy Drew, calling in birds. And doing a pretty good job of it, too, till you showed up. Where'd you come from, anyway?
Benjamin says weekend was too short and the workday's too long. I get that. Luke says he did it.
I drove in today from River Heights to visit my friend Sally McDonald.
Now, why would you want to do a thing like that? The Malone house is no place for one young woman, let alone two.
What do you know about the woman living here?
I talked to her a couple of times. But you know, the last time I saw her, she wasn't doing so good. She acted real anxious, scared.
Did she say what was wrong?
The dogs. The dogs of Mickey Malone. Legend goes that when Malone was finally arrested and hauled away, his 4 dogs went running off into the woods and were never seen again. People would just hear them, howling like their hearts were broken every night until one by one, they all died and went silent. But every time someone tries living in the Malone house, back they come.
Luke says, I don't know what it is yet, but he did it. And I'd hope you've met her since you're tromping around on her property.
Are you saying Sally's house is haunted by ghost dogs?
Yes.
Every night, ever since she moved in, you could hear them howling. And some nights the dogs would appear outside the house, running around, snarling and barking and throwing themselves at the doors and windows. And then they'd be gone. They're buried in the cemetery just beyond the house, you know. Them and Malone both.
All right. I'm not a dog person. And can I just say that a pack of dogs running around my house and barking and snarling and throwing themselves at the windows would absolutely convince me to move.
Did they ever attack Sally?
She never gave them the chance. After the first attack, she stopped going out at night. Just locked the doors when it got dark and sat tight until morning.
The dogs would attack her house?
It's like they don't want anybody but Malone living there. I guess they don't know he's dead. And so are they.
Dogs do have smooth brains.
Did she ever call the police?
This isn't New York City, Miss Nancy Drew. All they got around here is one officious little park ranger. And all Jeff Akers does is sit around all day trying to figure out how he can get himself transferred out of here to a bigger park.
Do you live close by?
I just come to Moon Lake in the spring to look for birds. Got an observation platform just up the path, kind of my base camp, and I've got a little outboard down there on the lake. Left my car at the big dock up lake. Don't really need it.
It's spooky season.
Are those the ghost dogs?
Yes, ma'am. Which is why I think it would be a good idea if I went my merry way and you got yourself back inside that house.
One more thing. The water in Sally's well needs to be tested. How do I do that?
Get a sampling kit from Jeff Akers. Ranger station's on the east side of the lake. Good luck, Miss Nancy Drew.
Alrighty. Like, there's ghostly dogs howling, and Nancy's like, how do I get well water tested? Isn't that place cute, though? Alright, let's get inside where the dogs are not, we hope. Also, cool chandelier. The chandelier is dogs.
This is not good.
Well, there's your ghost puppers, Benjamin. Benjamin says animations seem a bit better this game. Oh yeah, we've definitely passed the hump, and the animation actually looks like a game now.
Things that appear on a fresh spring tree make my birth different from the other three. When swans drift by on shimmering blue, I'm the one who plays in the summer dew. When autumn's call brings out the deer, it is I who howls on mornings clear. And when winter comes and birds take flight, look to me to sleep through the long gray night.
Summer, autumn, winter, and spring was leaves. Swans for summer. It's deer. And winter was birds. Okay. Bryce says they look possessed, but not Cujo. Yeah, they definitely look creepy. I do not love the jumping at the house thing. I do actually quite like the shade of blue that's on the walls. I'm very distracted. Let's see. What should we do next? I'm pretty sure if we try to go outside, the dogs are not there anymore. We can also die. Trumpet says you find inspiration everywhere, don't you? I do, and I've been doing flips inspired by the Nancy Drew games, so I've been trying to take mental notes as I go. Okay, we can die if we want to try taking a look at this little note. So yes, hello Trumpet, welcome back. How was your weekend? Here, get a second chance.
Watch your...
The fact that the post-it note that says rotten floorboards, watch your step is not visible until you're on the rotten floorboards, come on. Alright, I wonder if Sally's gotten to her aunts yet. 5, 5, 3, 8, 9. Oh. Nope, I did something wrong. 1, 2, 1, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 3, 8, 9. There we go.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, did you see them? Did you see the dogs?
Yes, I did, and I can understand why you left. They were pretty frightening. But if it's okay with you, I'd really like to stay and get to the bottom of whatever's going on. That's why you asked me here in the first place, right?
Yes, but Nancy, are you sure?
Positive. Consider Detective Drew officially on the case.
I wish I were even half the trooper you are, Nancy. I have such high hopes for that house. All the beauty there, the wildlife, all the pictures I was going to take. It would break my heart to have to give it up.
Trumpet says, did you just break something like how you broke Tamana in Mist 4? I actually have not finished Mist 4, and I haven't played it in ages. So I know that game probably the least of any of them. But this game is fun because if you die, there's a second chance button that takes you right back to just before you made a dumb decision. So it's not just game over. Association's going into lurk mode. Have fun lurking. And welcome, Mrs. First. How are you doing? Mrs. First asks, how goes the sleuthing? It's going all right. So a friend of ours named Sally bought a fixer-upper in the woods of Pennsylvania, but has fled because it's haunted by ghost dogs that run around outside barking and jumping at the windows.
I need you to tell me everything you can about those dogs.
They're black and they have yellow glowing eyes and they don't like me one bit.
When's the first time you saw them?
Well, let's see. I heard them the very first night I was here. I heard them almost every night howling in the distance, but I didn't actually see them until I'd been here about a week. After that, they started appearing pretty much every other night.
Ah, haven't watched a Mist stream yet. I haven't had much time to watch streams in general.
Did they always come around the same time, or did it vary?
Actually, they always came around the same time. What are you getting at?
These attacks seem to involve a lot of choreography, which reinforces my theory that you're not being randomly attacked by a pack of wild dogs, but by dogs who've been trained by someone determined to scare you out of your house at Moon Lake.
Who would want to do that? My closest neighbor lives 2 miles away. My property is surrounded by the state park, but it's off-season, so hardly anybody is in the park. In fact, I bet I talked to a total of 3 people the whole 4 weeks I was at Moon Lake.
Says, that sounds great, both as a fun mystery and because dogs are just great, whether they are ghosts or not. This game is amazing. It is one of the best in the series, I think.
Which 3 people?
Let's see. The park ranger. I forget his name. Kind of a pain in the neck. Emily Griffin. She's the one who owns that store I told you about. And I ran into this bird watcher a couple of times. Had a funny name.
Red Knot. I've run into him too.
Other than people I may have nodded hello to while getting gas or something, I swear those are the only people I've talked to at Moon Lake.
Let's see.
What about River Heights? Can you think of anyone there who'd want you to sell your house at Moon Lake and move back to River Heights?
You mean like an angry ex-boyfriend or something? Nope, I sure can't.
Alright, yeah, Luke is dying for me to stream Mist. So, at some point, fairly soon, we might have to take a break from Nancy Drew just so that I can make him happy with the Mist stream. Like, he has to watch all of my streams, no matter what they are, so maybe I should stream a game for him occasionally.
Since I'm going to be staying here a while, is there anything I should know about the place?
Well, let's see. I've got the water turned off because it's well water and it needs to be tested before I can use it for anything. In fact, if you could get that testing done for me, I'd really appreciate it. Oh, and watch where you walk in the living room. Some of the floorboards are so rotten you could fall right through. And I keep hearing these faint squeaks and rustling type noises coming from below the floor. I hope you're not scared of mice.
Trumpet says, happy hubs, happy subs? Actually, yes. I got a few Mist fans through streaming Abduction and Firmament, So he'd be happy, subscribers would be happy. And speaking of hubby over there, Luke, thank you for your quick moderation. Very much appreciated. Like, I literally just edited the chat rules tab today to add a reiteration of seriously, don't sell me anything. So Benjamin requests more Stardew. Let's see.
Who did you say I should call about getting rid of that tree?
Emily Griffin. She doesn't bother answering her phone sometimes, so don't call her. Go see her. Her store's on the west side of the lake. And brace yourself, M's Emporium is something else.
How well do you know her?
I feel like I've known her all my life. She's so open and friendly. She likes to make it sound as if Moon Lake used to be a major hangout for criminals and degenerates, which isn't really true and irks some people around here no end. But I figure she's just trying to make a buck.
Roy says, I've been trying to get in touch with you for months about your automotive insurance. Oh gosh, it does feel like that. We'd like to speak to you about your vehicle's extended warranty. Oh, Benjamin is on Winter of Year 1 and has almost 80K in gold. Dadgum.
How do I go about getting your water tested?
Try the ranger station on the east side of the lake. I've been told you can get some kind of kit there.
I'm curious, why did you characterize the park ranger as a pain in the neck?
I left part of a ham sandwich on a picnic table once. Big mistake. From the way he carried on, you'd think I just made the FBI's 10 most wanted list. I don't think he likes me. Emily says it's because I wrecked his dream of becoming Super Ranger or something when I bought the Malone house instead of the Parks Department. Me, I think he just basically has a problem relating to people unless they're asking questions or breaking the law.
Talk to you later.
Keep me posted.
Well, I'm nosy, so I spend most of my time asking questions. We should get along fine. I bet I could make an Afghan like that. That wouldn't even be too hard. Okay, no, do not write a crochet pattern. We're supposed to be playing a game. Yep, dogs are gone. Hey, Brave, welcome back. How are you doing? Here, we'll do a little snoop snoop.
It's locked.
Okay.
A face only a gnome could love.
There's a key. Alright. And...
Oh, the key broke off.
well, that was
There's got
helpful.
to be another way to get this open.
Okay. Alright, what we should probably do, since it is very late, is go to bed. And then in the morning, we can get to work on stuff. Oh, bottle of water. Sweet. Okay. Let's see. Morning. Outside door. Maybe the puppies are just thirsty. Maybe, sure. That would explain all of it. Okay, that's locked. I found a board.
Those look too rotten.
Yeah, that wouldn't help. We'll just keep stacking rotten boards on top of rotten boards. I think it's called Cozy Cabin. Mrs. First asks, which property do you have in mind for a build based on this game? It's from the Pets DLC, which I think would be quite fitting because ghost dogs. It's like a small cabin on the lake. I really want to say it's called Cozy Cabin.
The boat's full of water.
Uh-oh. Alright, hold up. I saw a bucket. It's cute and it has a basement.
Paw prints.
Ghosts don't leave footprints.
I need a bucket.
I've seen enough Scooby-Doo to know how that works. Alright. Oh, yeah. You're stuck here for over a day. I forgot about that part.
The spark plug is missing.
Mm-hmm. And the only person you can ask is Red Knot. Alright, well, let's go check out the cemetery real quick. As this first says, it seems like you could do a lot of fun
Better be
rustic
careful.
things for this build. Yes, that is exactly the plan. Let's see, this way, this way. And not a single misclick. I swear that maze is muscle memory for me at this point. Like, Snooky, beloved dog. Hold on, Matthias. Goodness, Oma Pearl. Piff and Paff. Cedric Cosmo, Cranky. Alrighty. Stench. Luke asks, is that an actual pet cemetery? Some of it is pets and some of it is people. Yeah. Marbles, we're so sorry to have lost you. Alright. So... okay, Xander's August. So summer is Xander. And let's see, Lucy, April. So Lucy is spring. Iggy, November. So Iggy is fall. Iggy's a good dog name. Okay, Vitus is winter. Oh gosh.
These look like dog tracks.
Now, tragically, we cannot snoop in the coffin. No archaeologist vibes this time. But, spoiler alert, we also don't get sealed inside the coffin with a mummy. So, you know, pros and cons. I do quite like the cemetery. I would not mind at all buying a rural property with its own private cemetery. Roy says it doesn't belong in a museum. Absolutely not. It belongs right here. Brave says that keeping the grotesqueries out helps keep it PG-13. Yep. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I've got 3 now. So... let's see if I can find my way back as well. That was loud. And we're back. Again, not a single misclick. I'm sure that I will misclick at some point, but again, seriously, I have it dadgum memorized. Like, I used to really struggle with that maze. Here, we'll just unscrew the hinge, but okay. Hammer and nails, gas mask, all good things. This place is so cute. So cute. Alright, so put our boards down here over the rotten ones. Okay, can't do anything with that yet.
It's stuck. I need some sandpaper.
Alright, we need sandpaper. Let's call Bess and George and tell them what's up, and then we'll sleep until nighttime. I am going to say that Nancy does not sleep. She probably brought a mystery novel to read by the lake. But sleeping is what the game gives us to change the time. I do appreciate that they keep Bess's name or Bess's phone number consistent.
Nancy, how's it going?
Hey, Bess. How'd you know it was me?
Telepathy, of course. Just another of my many talents. You are so full of it. She got caller ID, Nancy. So now, instead of hanging up on the geeks that always call her, she just doesn't answer the phone. Very funny. So what's up?
She got caller ID. She's living in the future.
Believe it or not, on some nights, this house gets attacked by a pack of dogs. Sally's so scared of them, she left me here by myself.
Did you say dogs? She couldn't have, George. Dogs don't attack houses.
Like, Bess with her caller ID is almost as modern as we are with our personal data assistant.
They were definitely dogs. They came out of nowhere and started leaping at the windows and scratching at the doors like they wanted to get in.
Maybe that was just their way of being friendly.
These dogs were not friendly, believe me, and they had glowing yellow eyes. A birdwatcher I ran into said they were ghosts.
Ghosts?
The man who built Sally's place on Moon Lake was a gangster. The birdwatcher said that the ghosts of his dogs show up every time someone new tries to live here.
The place is haunted by ghost dogs? Like there's such a thing as ghosts. But it does sound like you've got another mystery on your hands, Detective Drew.
This verse says, interesting that they have a dial phone that has buttons instead of a dial. Right? I love the aesthetic of it. Trumpet says, Miss Fancy Pants, caller ID. And I think I still have a PDA in a drawer somewhere. I am positive that my dad does.
There's a private cemetery in the woods out back. Malone and his dogs are supposedly buried there.
Creepy.
Ooh.
And there were paw prints in the cemetery. Fresh paw prints.
Are you sure you're going to be all right there by yourself? We'd volunteer to drive out there and keep you company, but unfortunately my car's in the shop, and you know what a scaredy cat George is.
That's okay. There's really no room, and believe me, living conditions here are pretty primitive.
Scaredy cat, huh? You're gonna pay for that remark, dear cousin.
Benjamin says, I miss phone buttons. Harder to butt dial back then. Touch screens stink. Agreed.
Bye, you guys.
See ya. Bye.
Touch screens are awful. Like, just because you can change something doesn't mean the change is an improvement. Yeah, I really miss having a slide-out keyboard. That was my favorite. I feel like I could type so much faster on the slide-out keyboard. Let's check our PDA actually. Oh, she says to ask Sally about the spark plug. Let's try that. Like, I already know it won't work, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, hi, how's it going?
Like, I could probably speedrun this game if I wanted to. This is one that I could speedrun. I don't want to. I want to enjoy. I want to savor it. I love this game. I want to savor it playing one of my favorite games. I even have my t-shirt that is themed to the game.
Your outboard motorboat is missing a spark plug. Is there one around here by any chance?
I wouldn't know a spark plug if I swallowed one whole. But you need that boat, Nancy. Right now, it's your lifeline. You can't use your car, and believe me, you can't walk anywhere because all the paths around the house end in this thick, horrible brush. You've got to get it fixed. Wait a minute. The bird watcher, he's got a boat. Maybe you could borrow his spark plug or something. Go down the path that's to the right as you look out toward the lake from the house, and you'll eventually see his observation platform. Try him at night. He never seems to be around during the day.
Where'd all that stuff in your tool shed come from?
It's just junk left behind by previous owners. Came with the house. I've been meaning to take inventory and start pitching stuff, but I didn't. If they ever make procrastination a crime, I'm done for.
That's a big mood.
The wall hanging in the living room with a poem on it, and those dog carvings in that cabinet above the sofa. What can you tell me about them?
Aren't they cool? They came with the place. Sold the clock. Apparently, Malone had them custom made when he built the house. In fact, they're all built into the house. They're still there because you can't move them.
Has the clock ever worked?
Not for me. Oh, but get this. One day, I was messing with the hands. You know, trying to get them to work. And all of a sudden, one of the 4 little doors flew open, and instead of a cuckoo, this dog popped out and barked 3 times. It's a doggy clock. That Malone, bad as he was, he sure loved those dogs.
Are you aware that you're the proud owner of your very own cemetery?
Yes. When the realtor told me there was a cemetery on the property, I went, ugh. But when I saw how far from the house it was and how small it was, I decided I could live with it, as it were.
See, I wouldn't consider it a strike against the property. It would be more of an in favor for me because it would be really cool and gothic. Like the Addams Family.
Do you know if Malone is really buried there?
The realtor said the cemetery was just a sham, that there's nothing under those tombstones but dirt. But he may have just been saying that so I'd buy the place. The only way to know for sure whether or not Malone is there is to start digging, and I'm certainly not going to do that.
Talk to you later.
Thanks again, Nancy.
Well, you wouldn't have to dig for Malone. He's in the mausoleum. But okay. Alright, we'll try for nighttime. This place is really cute. Roy says, can you dig it? Unfortunately, no, the game doesn't let you. Otherwise, I probably would. See, I just find the game, its graphics, its color palette, all of that is so soothing. Like, I find this game very relaxing. I say that now. Probably in 20 minutes, I'll be growling at something. Oh gosh. This is very true, Roy.
Well, it's Miss Nancy Drew.
Does that mean you like me to call you Mr. Red Knot?
All right, then. Hello, Nancy. Now put a muffler on it, would ya? I just heard a cerulean warbler.
Really? Are they rare?
Something tells me they're gonna be with you around. You didn't come up here to chit-chat, did you?
Do you know much about outboard motors?
Sure do. Only type of motorized vehicle that's allowed on Moon Lake. Heck, if it were up to me, I'd ban them too. Have everybody get around by canoe. Nothing like the threat of physical activity to keep tourists away.
Yeah, I think this is probably in Appalachia.
Why don't you like tourists?
I came to see birds, not people. The more people there are in a forest, the fewer birds there are. It's a fact of life. Reason I like to come here is because nobody else does. It's perfect. Not a decent grocery store, restaurant, or motel for miles.
Hello, Cure. Thanks for the follow. Welcome, welcome.
You don't happen to have any spare spark plugs lying around, do you?
What's a pretty young lady like you know about spark plugs?
Let's see.
Enough to know that the engine on Sally's boat is missing one, and that I'm going to be stuck here unless and until I replace it.
I might be able to help you out. After all, I was a Boy Scout. Be prepared.
But I don't want to leave you unprepared.
Well, just so happens I've got 2 spark plugs right here in my pocket. Question is, if I give you one, what do I get for it? I don't need cash, but maybe you could take a few pictures for me. Know how to use a digital camera?
Sure. What would you like me to take pictures of?
Birds, of course. There's a couple of birds I'm supposed to take pictures of for PEPSOB. That's People for the Preservation and Study of Birds. You can recognize them by their songs, which are on this tape, which you can play on my cassette player, which you're gonna have to get from M's Emporium as soon as you get your boat fixed. Think you can handle that?
Like, it's not quite a Renfield laugh, but it's definitely not my favorite. Trumpet says, I was a Boy Scout and I don't have spark plugs. Hashtag fail. Let's see. All right.
Sounds good.
Here's everything you'll need. M's Emporium is up lake on the west side. Not that I'm trying to get you out of my hair or anything, but try not to come pestering me till you're done, okay? One more thing. You smoke?
Only when I'm on fire.
Oh, you're a spunky one, aren't you? Well, these woods may not look it, but they're tinder dry. One lit match, and the best bird habitat on the East Coast will go up in smoke. So watch what you do. Because if anything like that happens, I won't be looking for birds anymore. I'll be looking for you. Watch yourself out there.
Yeah, he's really not a people person. I feel like I've met several of him. Not a people person. Alright, so we've got our spark plug, which means we will be able to leave. Eureka! Alright, interesting jacket. Okay. No, quit. Don't be distracted by the decor. Alright, go to morning. Could you imagine this being your view whenever you step out of your home in the morning? Just wake up in the morning and walk outside to this. So peaceful. Okay. Now, I'm gonna warn y'all right now. I can never figure out this boat puzzle. Like, I know that something has to be maximum and something has to be minimum, but I can never figure out which way is max and which way is min. So 50% of the time, the first time I try it, I blow myself up. So. Maximum. Maximum. Right in the middle. Okay. 50% chance that I'm gonna blow myself up. Ready? Bye, Nancy. Girl sleuth dies in outboard motorboat explosion on Moon Lake. Alright. Second chance.
Something must be very wrong with this engine.
Apparently. Told you, 50% chance. Alright. Well, at least it's entertaining for the stream. Okay. Let's try M's Emporium. Oh gosh. M. Emily's Moon Lake Antiques.
Hey there! Welcome to M's Emporium. I'm Emily Griffin.
That's an accent.
My name's Nancy Drew. I'm staying out at the old Malone place. You know, the house Sally McDonald bought?
Now, what's she doing inviting guests out to that old dump?
Benjamin says, I like the boat sounds better than those repetitive taxi sound bites. Gotta say. So one of the games later on is Phantom of Venice. It's in Venice. And so to get anywhere, you have to rent a gondola to take you to your next destination. You have 3 options. Now there is a free gondola. The free gondola, you go in dead silence. Like you see a little slideshow of pictures of Venice, and then you're there. There's an expensive gondola, and the expensive gondola has a singing gondolier who's doing like opera. There's also a cheap gondola. So you pay for that one, but not as much as the expensive one. That one has a singing gondolier who's trying to do opera. It's painful. It's hilarious once, but it is painful. Oh, Brave is going to Venice next week. Awesome. How is the Italian coming? Yeah, the singing gondoliers are funny, but I just do the cheap one every time because I don't actually want to hear clips of the same 3 Italian songs over and over again. So, yeah.
She's got a little problem she's hoping I can solve. But right now, I need a chainsaw.
A chainsaw?
A tree fell down in the driveway behind my car, and now I'm blocked in.
I'll get Tucker Davis to take care of it. Gotta warn you, though. Tucker tends to do things in his own sweet time. So how come Sally ain't with you?
The ghost dog scared her off.
I told her. I said, Sally, that old house is gonna be nothing but trouble. And sure enough, Malone's hounds have come back. Just when we all thought they were finally resting in peace.
There's always that local who wants to sell you on the ghost stories. Like I say as someone from a super haunted small woodland town. Brave says, pretty good, but struggling through Italian pronouns. Ooh. I've been doing French on Duolingo, and I just got to the point where it's trying to teach me like variations of present tense. So basically is, are, am kind of variations. But holy cow, there's so many words that have these variations, and there's so many varieties. Like, because they're different. Whether I am doing it, you are doing it, he or she is doing it, or they are doing it. Oh, or we are doing it. And remember John Panette said that he could say feed me, I'm hungry in like 15 languages or something. Like that's about what I want to learn. Like I just need to learn no, I don't want to buy anything. Where's the bathroom? And feed me, I'm hungry in all of the languages, and then I'll be good. I could go anywhere.
When was the last time they appeared?
Seems like they show up every time somebody buys the place. So the last time would have been 10, 15 years ago.
Wow, it's been sitting empty for a long time. I'm amazed there's not more leaves all over the floor. Like possum nests. I'm mostly joking about the possum nests. Squirrel nests, though, everywhere. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the dogs?
Nope. Don't want to, neither. Just hearing 'em howl's bad enough. Scares the bejeebies out of me.
Bejeebies.
I got the bejeebies scared out of me twice last night. Just before I saw the dogs, I caught a man named Red Knot prowling around outside the house.
The bird watcher. Comes in every so often to stock up on that weirdo food he eats. You know how them tree hugger types are.
Them tree hugger types. Who are taking over the very haunted woodland town that I came from. It's being overrun by granola eaters.
Has he been in the area long?
About as long as those pink-billed warblers and purple-eyed owls he's always chasing have been around. Couple of months, I guess.
Mr. Knott did me a favor, and in return he asked me to pick up a cassette player from you.
Oh, yeah. I got it right here. Thought maybe the old coot had forgotten he left it here. What else can I do you for?
Let's see.
These so-called ghost dogs left very real paw prints. I saw some near the cemetery that's by the Malone house. Have you ever been there?
Can't say as I have. Poking around cemeteries ain't exactly a hobby with me.
Why not? It's fun. You find amazing things sometimes. I was poking around a cemetery with my mom a few years back, and we found this beautifully aesthetic tombstone. One of those that has like a carved urn at the top of it, and it was under a spreading tree, so it was extra aesthetic and spooky, and the name on the tombstone was Grim. Aesthetic on point.
Does the name Waldo Matthias mean anything to you?
Can't say as it does.
Trumpet says, I don't have any overseas plans currently, but I'll be in Quebec for about 36 hours in a few weeks. I figure if I stick to the tourist areas, people should speak English. Ooh, and yeah, French dialects are harder to find resources for, so I hope so.
Where do you find your...
Bless you. It's all the dust. Sometimes I think it grows on this stuff.
Okay.
Some of those old bottles are beautiful. Where'd you get them?
Found 'em. See, back in the days of Prohibition, that old Malone place used to be party central. Only way to get to and from back then was by boat. And when those boats dumped, on account of bad weather or bad driving or the feds suddenly showing up, well, everything from diamond necklaces to full bottles of illegal booze sank to the bottom of the lake.
So it's finders keepers, huh?
That's right. See, recovering objects from the lake bed is illegal. According to Squeaky Wheel Acres, dragging the lake for artifacts was upsetting its delicate eco-balance. So thanks mostly to his constant squawking, the state banned it.
Are you saying you acquired this stuff illegally?
Well, of course not. It all washed up on shore.
That sounds very likely.
Sounds like you aren't real fond of Ranger Acres.
Jeff Akers could take all his precious rules and regulations and take a flying leap. Now, I got nothing against getting more customers in here, mind you. But I kind of like Moon Lake the way it is. Small, quiet, out of the way. But Jeff Akers, why, there's nothing he'd like better than to see all the lake and all the property around it turned into one big, noisy, jam-packed state park.
Why would he want that?
He's the type of guy who likes to boss people around, makes them feel important. So if the park got way bigger and was crawling with tourists, why, instead of giving out maybe one ticket for littering every 2 days, He'd be giving out 12 tickets every 2 hours. He'd be in heaven. Well, hey, I'm sure you got better things to do than getting your ear chewed off by yours truly.
ISTJ maybe?
I need to buy something.
You want it? I got it. As long as you pay cash, that is.
Right now, cash is kind of a problem for me. Do you think we could do some kind of trade out?
You scratch my back, I scratch yours, huh? Seeing as how you're a friend of Sally's, and seeing as how I got some things around here that could use doing, I guess we could work something out. What is it you need?
Do you sell sandpaper by any chance?
I do, but Mr. Birdbrain was in last week and cleaned me out. Said he was tired of that observation platform of his giving him splinters in his hinter regions.
Think I could get some from him?
He's your only hope, but you better ask him for it quick. That deck of his is pretty big, and those squares I sold him are pretty small.
All
Guess
right.
I'll see you later.
Always a pleasure.
Benjamin says, why the heck this game seems so full of innuendo? They did this on purpose. Dude, I don't know. This was made in a more innocent time. Ooh, live bait.
Ew!
Take it Nancy's not into fishing. Let's see. Roy says there's lunch. Got plates with dogs on them. 80 years ago. Oh my gosh, it's 100 years ago now. Wow. Wow. Okay, 80 years ago, Moon Lake was crawling with gangsters, flappers, and jazz musicians from the big city. They traveled to and from parties by boat and were so rich that if they accidentally dropped something in the lake, they wouldn't even bother going after it. Each item you see here was fished by legal means out of Moon Lake and most likely belonged to some wealthy big shot. Don't go home without buying at least one genuine artifact from the Roaring Twenties. Alright. Have to remember my life preserver. Trust me, if you forget your life vest, it gets real bad real fast. It's not enough to just have it in your inventory. Gosh, I swear I've been in this ranger station in real life. Am I going to have to clip the boat exploding? Just for everyone's perpetual entertainment?
Hello, can I help you?
Hi, my name's Nancy Drew. I'm visiting Sally McDonald. Are you the park ranger?
Park Ranger Jeff Akers, at your service. Let's see, Sally McDonald is the woman who bought the old Malone place.
That's right. Only she's gone back to Philadelphia. Malone's dogs got to her.
Don't tell me she believes all that ghost dog stuff.
So you know the legend?
I know almost everything about this area. Not only have I lived here all my life, but you're standing in the unofficial Moon Lake Museum of Factual and Natural History. I'm its equally unofficial curator.
Okay, so we did find another museum.
What's your take on all this ghost dog stuff?
Whatever's out there, I'm sure they're no more and no less than exactly what they look and sound like. Dogs. Living, breathing, very noisy dogs.
Why do you think dogs would attack Sally's house?
Dogs can be trained to do almost anything.
Hey, Boomer, welcome, welcome.
Any idea what would make a dog's eyes glow yellow?
Something in their diet, maybe? Some oddball vitamin or protein.
Sure, if your dog eats the wrong thing, its eyes will glow yellow. That sounds very believable, Ranger Akers. Like, our cat ate one of my plants and it gave him hallucinations. So that's been fun. But his eyes didn't glow any more than they usually do. This is versus, like, if your dog eats uranium? Benjamin says, cat ate my spider plant once. Only once. Ours was doing it habitually. He figured out that the spider plant would give him hallucinations, and apparently he was bored. So.
Do you have something I could use to test the well water at Sally's?
Sure do. Simple to use, too. Just pump some water into this vial, return the sample to me, I'll send it off, and in a day or two, you'll find out whether or not your water's fit to drink.
Do wells go bad very often?
Depends on when they were dug. The older they are, the more susceptible to contamination they are.
And, by the way, uranium's not until White Wolf of Icicle Creek. Brave says maybe they're undead dogs and they had a big breakfast of lake dwellers' souls. Benjamin says I wanted him to eat it more than once, he just didn't like it. Trumpet says my dad was growing catnip in his garden for a while. We got some fun videos of their cat occasionally after that. Let's see.
Would you mind mailing this letter for me?
Not at all.
What do you know about the cemetery behind the Malone house?
People are buried there. Beyond that, what's to know?
Is Malone buried there?
That's the rumor.
The inscription on one of the tombstones reads Waldo Matthias. Does that name ring any bells?
Not in my steeple.
Would it be okay if I looked around?
Please do. And if you have any questions, any more questions, just ask.
Thanks for all your help.
That's why I'm here. Oh, and one last thing. The deer mouse population has boomed this year, so please take precautions if you're cleaning out any area where they may have nested. They can carry some nasty diseases.
Thanks for the tip, Ranger Acres.
Boomer says if I had a dog, I'd train it to randomly face the closet door and growl, but only when visitors were alone. That's evil! Aw, little skunk friend. Red-tailed hawk. Awesome. Oh yeah, I feel like I've been here. Got fishing regulations, boating regulations, hiking tips. Stay on the designated trails. Shortcuts cause damage to precious park resources. Watch for snakes and scorpions. What? How old is this tree? Wow. This is a cool little nook. Here, wait, I want to get a better look at that. Yeah, that's pretty neat. I like it. Very cute. Civilian Conservation Corps. 1932. Let's see. And I've been to a lot of parks that had shelters built by the Civilian Conservation Corps. Okay. Oh, got some artifacts. Got pictures. There's been a logging company. Cute. Park Ranger Francis Bacon Grits. They sneak some of the best joke names into this. Alright, well, water. Ooh. Ooh. Should give you dysentery. No thanks. I have been in a house where the well water smelled like rotten eggs. I don't care if it's perfectly safe. It was icky. Felt slimy. Alright. Okay. Can figure this out. Homer says they should recycle Three Stooges names. That would be funny. Oh, hantavirus. Lovely. Oh, you can catch them from mice. That's nice. Lyme disease from ticks. It's just wonderful. I don't think I want to read more about those. Got a nature slideshow. White-tailed deer, wood-tugs, red squirrel. Ooh, pretty. Park regulations. I think we already saw all of that. History of Moon Lake. Lenape tribe, early settlers, famous residents, and creation of Moon Lake State Park. Alright, famous residents. The early 20th century, many celebrities from the East Coast spent time here, including Lorenz Ziegfeld, famous producer of Broadway musicals and revues. Ziegfeld Follies? That guy? In fact, in 1926, his boat, the Folly King, ran into the rocks at the north end of the lake and capsized. Nobody was hurt, but rather than going to the bother of repairing the boat, Ziegfeld simply left it there. Legend has it that for years the local dog would swim out to the wreck every day and lie on it, barking at everyone who came near. The boat gradually disintegrated until now no trace of it remains. Let's see. Moon Lake has had some infamous residents as well. In 1925, at the height of Prohibition, Mickey Malone, a gangster from Philadelphia who got rich smuggling and distributing illegal liquor, built a house on the North Shore at the site of the old Gretzky farm. See early settlers. People came from up and down the East Coast to attend the parties he threw at Moon Lake. He was convicted of tax evasion in 1933 and sent to prison, where he eventually died. Early settlers. Where's the farm thing? Ah. Okay, so this says that while the farmhouse collapsed, it had been like an underground railroad stop. Okay. Alrighty. Well, that says secret tunnels. Which would explain why the gangster wanted it. Alright. Alright. Whoop. Okay, so we need to prime the pump. Oh, we'll need a bucket as well. There we go. Oh, it's actually a pretty good water animation. Like, they have pretty good water in this game. Alright, let's take the sample back to the ranger station, see if he can mail it for us. Alright, get that started.
You're back.
I have that water sample. What do I do with it?
Just give it to me, and I'll take care of it.
Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure.
Okay. I think they use some of the animations in multiple games. Like Brady might have done that animation. I know for sure that Elliot Chen does in Haunted Carousel, which might be the next game. I think Haunted Carousel is the next one. Elliot does that same hand spread while talking animation. Let's see, anything else? Oh yeah, we can look for some of his pictures and listen to bird calls.
American goldfinch. Northern cardinal. Red-tailed hawk.
Is that a song? Really? It's more of a cry, right?
Western tanager.
Okay. Alright, let's go birding. I think one of them's on this side.
Here, birdie, birdie, birdie.
Oh. Click. Beautiful. That's one.
No birds here.
Ooh, we found the stone pillar. Cool. See, I'd love to have these woods behind my house. It's a cool stone pillar. Various fallen trees. Cemetery. Although, I think I skipped those.
Here, birdie, birdie, birdie.
Yeah, because we missed the tennis shoe. Okay. There's no birds, so... I think she puts them on the map. Yes. Okay. So... yeah, I think we've been all around this side. Alright, now we're at the fallen tree. Is there anything past it? Yes.
Missed it.
Okay. Then... this way. Okay, nothing down there. Oh, we can get this one. Click. Beautiful. All right. Ooh. To Robin Redbreast. Okay. Nothing down that way. I think this is just the cemetery. Oh, no, wait. Here's something.
I must have scared it.
Nancy learns ornithology. Nancy learns an insane variety of skills across these games, which always put me in like a very nerdy mood where I wanted to learn all the things. So I then did a lot of research on the stuff in the games. Boomer says, sample bird call. Ring ring, hello, this is Robin. Hello Robin, it's Jay. Oh, hello Jay. What's it like being an empty nester? Etc, etc. Very funny. I appreciate that. Trumpet says, Nancy learns ornithology and tries to stay out of the way of the creepy guy in camo. Alright, oh, there's window boxes. Those are cute. Okay. Is that all we can do today then? Probably. Alright. So then we need it to be nighttime so we can talk to Red Knot. It's pretty out here.
You find all the birds?
I found some birds, but no matter how quiet I am, I've been scaring other birds away before I can take their picture. What am I doing wrong?
You're wearing those clothes. That's what you're doing wrong. You need to blend in, like me. Go back over to M's tacky tourist trap and get yourself some camouflage gear. Only sensible thing that money grubber carries.
I'm sure he blends in everywhere he goes.
I'm sorry to keep bugging you, but I need some sandpaper. Emily said you might have some.
Here, take it and scram. I was just about to call in a meadowlark. That was always Ruth's favorite.
Was Ruth your wife?
Generic brand sandpaper.
Good heavens, no. My wife had no patience for birding. Ruth was my dog. Border collie. She'd hear a meadowlark, and by golly, her ears would perk, and she'd cock her head, and she'd just come as close to smiling as ever a dog could.
Was she the only dog you ever had?
Yep. Wouldn't be worth the hassle anymore. Especially now that I'm retired and spend so much time at Moon Lake. The place is surrounded by park land, and Ranger Acres just loves enforcing the leash laws. There it is again. Take your sandpaper and go sand something, okay?
Trumpet says, spark plugs and sandpaper, what doesn't this guy have in his pockets? Boomer says, a personality? I think he's got a personality, it's just a grumpy one. Said, he reminds me of multiple people that I know in real life. And the husbands of multiple people I know in real life. Alright.
It's stuck.
Yeah. Okay, so this wall has swans. This one has birds. This one is deer. And that one has trees. Okay. So Lucy is spring leaves, so she goes that way. Xander's swan, so he's already pointing the right direction. Iggy is deer. Boom. Yes! Secret panel! Okay, good thing we found a flashlight. Finding secret panels and passageways never gets old. Okay, found a picture. People with a really cool car. Okay. Squeaking noises and a patch of texture that doesn't match. Hold up. We have gloves and an N95 maybe? Oh. MM pinched. Okay.
It could be mice making that sound. It looks like a tiny hole.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Boomer says that this is where the Mayan artifacts wound up. Different game, but it feels like it sometimes. Alright,
William Akers? I wonder if he's related to Jeff Akers.
Oh, William Akers. According to the police, the only person Malone trusts. Oh my gosh, he was running laundromats. Didn't Al Capone have laundromats? Or am I confusing him with a different movie gangster? To launder his money. Yes. Ah, beautiful. Love that we get a shot of the night sky. Boomer says if Ranger Akers had 2 children, could he say he had a couple of acres? Apologizing. I don't know, that's a pretty good pun. I don't know if Ranger Akers has enough sense of humor that he'd be able to say it. Alright. See if Sally wants any updates about this whole dog
Hey,
thing.
Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, hi, how's it going?
Talk to you later.
Thanks
Okay.
again, Nancy.
Alrighty. So we can go to the next morning. So let's see. So we need to get camo gear. This one has a lot more days than the others because they make you do some things only at day and some things only at night. So you wind up having to go through more days. Oh yeah. Alright, camo gear.
Howdy, Nancy.
To make a long story short, I need some camouflage gear.
Got some right over here. One size fits all. But I'm running kind of low on bait. So if you go out and get me, oh, say a dozen little critters, I'll give you the camos.
A dozen little critters?
Worms, spiders, beetles, grubs. Anything that wriggles on its belly'll do. Just look under stuff. Rocks, logs, dead leaves. Should be able to find 12 in no time.
Hunting for critters isn't illegal, is it?
Things ain't quite that bad around here. Least not yet. Now, if Jeff Akers' daddy was still around, you might get arrested for cruelty to animals or some such nonsense. Joe Akers used to be the deputy sheriff. Real critter lover, that one was.
Boomer says the ad has Boy Scouts. I legit thought it was part of the game. That's hilarious. Joe Akers.
Joe Akers is Jeff's father?
That's right.
Okay.
I found an old newspaper in Sally's house that contained an article on Mickey Malone. It really got my curiosity going. What else can you tell me about him?
Person you should talk to is Jeff Akers. He's got this historical museum thing going out at that ranger station of his.
Boomer says, why does him remind me of Dana Scully? The haircut. Like the cut and color of the hair. I get it. I had Scully's haircut once. It was my first time with short hair. It was a revelation. I never went back.
I found this picture in Sally's house. Do you recognize anybody?
I'm guessing the guy's Mickey Malone, but I don't know who's that lady. Sounds like a case for our resident know-it-all Ranger Akers.
Guess I'll see you later.
I guess you will.
Alrighty. Oh. Okay. And to the ranger station. See, this would be so much more aesthetically pleasing than riding around in the taxi cab would. Oh, puppy! Hi, puppy! Cute puppy dog.
You're back.
I noticed you have a dog.
That's Yogi, who never goes out unless he's on a leash. Park rules.
He seems very well trained.
I hope you're not suggesting I trained Yogi to run around in the middle of the night barking and attacking houses.
That's quite the leap from a very bland compliment. Feeling guilty? Right, let's see.
Have you gotten the results back from that water sample I left with you?
I meant to call the Department of Health today for a status report, but frankly, I've been way too busy.
How long have you been the Lone Ranger here, as it were?
6 long, very frustrating years. If I were in charge of just 10 more acres of parkland, they'd give me an assistant, and I could devote more time to the acquisition of more land and eventually put Moon Lake on the map as one of the biggest, most popular parks in the state.
Ambitious, okay.
Why didn't the Parks Department buy the Malone property instead of Sally?
She outbid them, the cheapskates.
Well, if those dogs scare Sally away for good, other people are bound to think twice about buying the place. The bank will lower its price, and you'll have your land.
You're insinuating things again, Miss Drew.
I didn't mean to insult you. In fact, is there anything I can do to help you out?
Tell you what, if you're serious about making amends, there's some boxes by the computer labeled with dates. They're from the estate of a local history buff. She kept everything from newspaper clippings to old photos to recipes for apple crisp. She put everything in envelopes, then numbered them by year using Roman numerals. Just put the envelopes in order by year with the earliest date in front. Oh, and if you're rusty on Roman numerals, there's an entry on them in the computer.
I hope I don't get distracted. Apple crisp sounds good right now.
Don't go reading anything until you're through, or take my word for it, you'll never get finished.
I could make apple crisp.
I found this old picture in Sally's house. Do you know who these people are?
The man is Mickey Malone, I know that. I'm guessing that this is his girlfriend, Vivian Burnett, I think her name was. And judging by the year of that brand new Ford in the background, I'd say the picture was taken in 1928.
Let's see.
She was probably as familiar with Malone's house and his dogs as he was. Think there's any chance she's still alive?
Tell you what, Miss Drew. Why don't I go through my files and see what I can dig up on this mystery woman? I'm a busy man, but like I always say, I'm here to serve.
I've been trying
Let's
to
do
take
this one.
pictures of birds for this guy named Red Knot. Ever met him?
Oh yes, the Birdman. I'd stay away from him if I were you.
Why? Is something wrong with him?
He's a fanatic. He's got it in his head that Moon Lake would be the best birdwatching venue in the world except for one thing. Too many people. Believe me, if there was a way to get this park shut down and all the homes on the lake torn down, he'd do it in an instant.
I found a newspaper dating back to 1927 in Sally's house. Since you're kind of an expert on the history of Moon Lake, do you mind if I ask you some questions about Mickey Malone?
Not at all.
The article mentioned that a man named William Akers used to work for Malone. Is he a relative of yours?
No. Quite a coincidence, I'll admit, but no. I am in no way related to the head flunky of some two-bit gangster and his gang of thugs.
Thanks for all your help.
Not a problem.
Okay. Methinks he doth protest too much. Okay.
Let's see. Jeff said the envelope with the earliest date goes down in the front of each box.
Okay, well, MCM is in the right spot. MCM. Okay. Then it's 13, so that's right. This is 15. Okay, and then no, wait, got those swapped. Okay, this one, I think that's 60. I think. All right, hold up. MCX.
Now that they're all sorted, I can do some reading.
Sweet. Right. It's a gangster about to become Moon Lake's newest resident. March 17th, 1925. Rumors are flying thick and fast that Mickey Malone, a self-proclaimed captain of industry with far more ties to gamblers and smugglers than to legitimate businessmen, is building a house on the north shore of Moon Lake. The rumor started last June when the 10-acre property on which the house is being built was purchased by Philadelphia Duds and Suds, a company owned by Malone which is widely believed to be merely a front for his criminal undertakings. Secrecy has shrouded the project ever since construction began in October of last year. 4 men and a locked gate block the driveway leading to the site. Unauthorized persons and vehicles are summarily turned away. Day and night, security guards patrol the heavily wooded lakefront property. Several large trucks strategically parked obscure any and all views of the site from the water. Even the workmen have been sworn to silence. When asked if Mickey Malone was indeed building a home on Moon Lake, Waldo Matthias, the agent spearheading the Department of Justice's investigation of Malone's activities, had only this to say: "If he is, I suggest he live it up while he can, because the place we're going to be sending him to ain't on no beach, and he's going to be there for a real long time." Mr. Malone could not be reached for comment. Ooh, gangster nabbed at Moon Lake residence. Mickey Malone arrested right at his luxurious Moon Lake property. This one is January 29th, 1932. Mickey Malone, a Philadelphia businessman long considered by police to be a bootlegger and a racketeer, finally felt the sting of the sword of justice when he was arrested this morning at his house on Moon Lake. Photo shows gangster Mickey Malone in pajamas being led away. Careful to keep Malone's attack dogs at bay, agents from the Internal Revenue Service and the Department of Justice raided the lakefront home at dawn, catching Malone and his henchmen completely by surprise. Within seconds, Malone was handcuffed. Okay, at dawn. Alright. Wearing only an overcoat over his pajamas, he was swept out the door. Okay, within seconds, Malone was handcuffed, wearing only an overcoat over his pajamas. He was swept out the door and into a waiting car. He was driven directly to Philadelphia, where he was jailed on charges of tax evasion and conspiracy to violate prohibition laws. The police have been wise to Malone's criminal activities for years, but 3 previous attempts to incarcerate him failed miserably when Malone's shadowy associates, through bribes and threats, forced prosecution witnesses to recant their stories. This time, federal agents intend to rely on ledgers and tax returns to prove their case. Since 1927, when it was determined that even income gained through illegal means is taxable, and that sums up the American government, authorities have been eager to use this ruling to make thugs like Malone pay for their crimes. Mickey Malone's been making us look like fools for a long time, declared Bureau of Investigation Agent Waldo Matthias. But today, the good guys finally got the last laugh. Malone loudly and repeatedly proclaimed that he'd done nothing wrong as he was led to jail. However, his protestations of innocence ended abruptly when, apparently not wishing to be photographed in his pajamas, Malone took a swing at a press photographer. He was quickly subdued. Alright. So... Malone arrested. Boomer asks, why does Agent Waldo look like a bigger gangster than Malone? The aesthetic. $129. 32. Right. That. And February 13th, 1941. Philadelphia mobster dies in Leavenworth. Michael Mickey Malone died yesterday of liver failure in the federal penitentiary at Leavenworth, Kansas, at the age of 52. Born in Newark, New Jersey in 1889, Malone owned and operated Philadelphia Duds and Suds, a chain of laundromats and dry cleaners that allowed him to disguise and disperse the money he made as a racketeer. So it was laundering. Compared to other gangsters, Malone kept a relatively low profile. His desire for privacy was enforced by 4 large dogs who never left his side. That would do it. Although he was rumored to be involved in everything from rum running to gold heists, he never spent a single night in jail until he was arrested in 1932 for tax evasion. He was convicted the following year and was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. He died just 2 months before he was scheduled to be released. Throat's drying out. Ooh. Dragging ban is a drag for Pennsylvania treasure hunter. There's gold in them thar sandbars. Alright, at least that's been the experience of Emily Griffin, owner of M's Emporium on Moon Lake in central Pennsylvania. For the past 10 years, she's been dragging a heavy net back and forth along the bottom of the lake, uncovering and bringing to the surface relics from the 1920s. I've dredged up everything from diamond tiaras to skeleton keys to full bottles of French cognac, said Griffin. It just blows my mind what those people would drop back then and never bother going back for. One of Emily's finds, an Art Deco bracelet. Beautiful. She was referring to the wealthy guests of gangster Mickey Malone, who built a home on the lake in 1925 and threw large raucous parties almost every weekend. Because his guests would travel to and from the house by boat, personal items were lost overboard with great frequency. Ms. Griffin estimates that she has made close to $20,000 selling her finds to antique hunters and tourists. But last week, her windfall came to an end. The county in which Moon Lake is located passed an ordinance making the recovery of objects from the lakebed illegal. The ban arose from the fact that the bottom of Moon Lake is composed of unusually fine sand. When disturbed, it clouds the water sometimes for days, posing a threat to the aquatic plants and fish that otherwise thrive there. Park Ranger Jeff Akers, who oversees the state park surrounding the lake, initiated the ban. The eco-balance of Moon Lake is simply too delicate to ignore, he contends. But Ms. Griffin begs to differ. The whole thing's just plumb ridiculous, she says. You know what all that stuff down there is doing right now? It's rusting. Rotting away, polluting the water. Heck, by getting it out of there, I'm doing the county a favor. Unfortunately, the county doesn't see it that way, and it appears that Ms. Griffin will have to abandon what had become a pleasantly profitable hobby. Oh, I don't know, she shrugs. I can still sell the stuff that washes up on shore, and that happens, you know, especially after a good storm. So I may be down, she says, eyes twinkling, but I ain't necessarily out. And an ad encouraging us to watch the Septics Roadshow. Alright.
You're back.
I finished putting all those envelopes in order.
Excellent. Thank you, Miss Drew. And to show my gratitude, I've got something for you.
It doesn't involve Roman numerals, does it?
No, it's an honorary Junior Park Ranger pin. I keep them on hand so I can give them out to children whom I see demonstrating respect for park rules and regulations. A little bit of positive reinforcement.
I love it, and I have actually bought a fan art one, IRL.
Unfortunately, I don't get to give them out that often.
Oh, gee, thanks, Ranger Acres.
I love it. I'm a junior park ranger. That's exactly the kind of positive reinforcement I like to have.
What happened to Acres and the rest of Malone's gang after he went to prison?
Fortunately for Moon Lake, they all left and went their separate ways.
When and why was Malone arrested?
I'm sorry, Ms. Drew. As usual, I'm a little pressed for time. If you have more questions, why don't you sit down at the computer and peruse the Moon Lake database of fascinating factoids that I've put together?
Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure.
All right, let's see. Ooh. Poison ivy. Forest fire prevention. Okay. Don't let 1 minute of carelessness destroy what it took nature decades to create. Oh man, my parents live way out in the woods, and right next door to them is a vacation rental. Might be an Airbnb, I'm not sure. But since it's a vacation rental, very frequently the people staying there are city folk who don't know what to do with the woods. Oh. Alright, well that's 2. Alright. And one time, this I might have been the worst one that they had. Like, there's been at least one time that the owner has had to blacklist the people so that they can never rent there again. Yeah, we got it. And I know these ones got blacklisted, but the owner lets my brother sell firewood there. He has an honor system thing set up where he's got a bunch of firewood in bundles. And little cash box and a sign saying how much the firewood is, because they have like a campfire pit kind of thing. So they had a group out there once, family, I think, like parents, couple kids kind of thing. And they used all of the firewood, $40 worth, and did not pay for any of it. They burnt $40 worth of firewood and did not pay. And after they checked out in the morning, when my dad was, I think, driving to work, he drove past and saw that the campfire was still smoking. They hadn't even put it out. Oh no. Alright, I'll have to repeat the punchline for Boomer. Yep, $40 of firewood, and they did not pay for any of it. And then after they checked out and my dad was driving to work, he saw that the campfire was still smoking. Like, it was actively burning. They hadn't extinguished it. So they just left a fire burning in the woods and drove away back to the city. Like, they could have burned down the whole, like, that whole patch of forest, including my parents' house. So I do have some amount of sympathy for Ranger Acres. And the fact that it was parents with kids, too, because then it's like, what are these kids learning from their parents? You know? But I know they were blacklisted, so they can't rent there ever again. They also left mud in the hot tub. I have not played Firewatch. What is that? I'm wildly curious. How many critters do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Alright, we're doing pretty good on critters. We'll be able to get more tonight. Oh, I think we can try to open... Mrs. First says, my grandpa used to get really angry about all of those darn hippies that have campfires in the woods on their property. Honestly, I'd be upset too. From Steam. Firewatch is a single-player first-person mystery, set in the Wyoming wilderness, where your only emotional lifeline is the person on the other end of a handheld radio. Ooh, okay, hold up. The year is 1989. You are a man named Henry, who has retreated from his messy life to work as a fire lookout in the Wyoming wilderness. Perched high atop a mountain, it's your job to look for smoke and keep the wilderness safe. An especially hot, dry summer has everyone on edge. Your supervisor, Delilah, is available to you at all times over a small handheld radio, your only contact with the world you've left behind. When something strange draws you out of your lookout tower and into the forest, you'll explore a wild and unknown environment, facing questions and making choices that can build or destroy the only meaningful relationship you have. Ooh. Nice one, Boomer. Mrs. First says, I tend to identify closely with hippies, but I understood his anger based on his worry about fire. Like, I don't know. I can understand the hippies, but I can understand the squares too.
It looks like a tiny hole.
There we go.
What's the combination?
One, 2, 9, 3, 2. Yes! Mice! Mice!
I bet those were deer mice.
Boomer says, IRL, I was a hippie in college and changed to square after college for the money. Well, you could tell what was going on. And as Lociation says, it's hip to be square. I'm kind of a square hippie. Like, that's how I feel I am as a person. Might be more square. Trumpet says I'm a square with rounded corners. I relate very strongly to that. Okay.
Speakeasy.
Ooh, speakeasy. Oh yeah, speaking of being not quite square. Alright, April 29th, 1933. Today Mickey went to prison. We found the journal of William Akers. But when they were walking him to the paddy wagon, he told me to take care of his dogs, and when the time came to do their tombstones like he told me. Then he whispered to me to look under the Victrola in the speakeasy at Moon Lake. He said I'd find a map to the gold he stole 2 years ago. Oh. Then they shoved him into the wagon, and that was that. Poor Mickey. How's a guy who's never spent one night in jail supposed to spend 8 years in prison? He'll never make it. I think he wants me to have the gold because deep down he knows he's never coming home. Boomer says I'm a triangle, a square that didn't make it. Lociation says, I like to embrace what I like without labels. Lociation is very anti-label. I tend to like labels because I like having things nicely organized, but also I will commonly use contradictory labels because labels don't actually work. But it's a whole thing. Anyway, I looked under the Victrola and found the map. The problem is there's nothing on it except a bunch of lines and the words "the dogs will lead the way." There's no X marking the spot or directions or nothing. But I need money bad. My wife and baby haven't had anything decent to eat in months. So I'm gonna pack them up and move to Moon Lake permanently so I can spend all my time looking for the gold. May 4th, 1933. Mickey never told me outright that he was the guy who pulled off the hole-in-the-floor gold heist. He always said the less I knew, the healthier I'd stay. But according to the papers, a bunch of gold was stolen off a moving train, right under the noses of about a dozen Pinkertons. Mickey must have greased somebody's palm real good and got him to cut a hole in the floor of the boxcar the gold was going to be shipped in. After the gold was loaded, one of his boys crawled under the train and pulled himself into the boxcar. Every so often I lose my place. Then when the train was moving, he dropped the gold down the hole onto the tracks. Mickey's boys picked it up and got away clean. Nobody ever suspected Mickey was behind it. So what I'm looking for is 20 gold bars. The paper said altogether they weighed around 600 pounds. The question is, did Mickey hide them in one place or did he spread them around? He must have buried them, but where? I just thought of something. Maybe Mickey trained his dogs to go to the gold if you say the right word. I'm going to try saying gold to them tomorrow and see what happens. Let's see. Mrs. First says, I was a young enough kid during the hippie days that I wasn't really a hippie, but I grew up in a very liberal area and old pictures of my family on vacation look like we escaped from a commune. And that she loves hip to be square. Boomer says I identify as a blank label. Excellent. Okay, July 14th, 1933. I've said every word I can think of to all the dogs, but they haven't led me anywhere except around in circles. I spent the last month following them around. First Xander, then Vitus, then Lucy. I don't have to follow Iggy because all he does is sleep on the porch. Hey, I have a cat like that. So it looks like I'm gonna have to start digging. I'll dig under the porch first, seeing as that's where Iggy always is. October 21st, 1933. A month ago, I started working as a handyman over in Lewiston to make ends meet. So even though I stop by Mickey's every day to feed the dogs, I can only look for the gold at night. I dug all around under the porch, but didn't find nothing. I marked the porch.
Joe Akers? Emily said Jeff Akers' father was named Joe. Maybe Jeff is related to William Akers after all.
Oh, wow. All right, have a good time, Boomer. It was good to see you. Also, very cool, and we love Appalachian trivia here. So, have a good evening. Alright. Mark the porch on the map with a big I for Iggy, because that's the place he always leads me to. I was so busy digging last Tuesday night that I almost wasn't there when my son was born. We're calling him Joe. His big sister is real happy. She says baby Joe's just like the dolly she's always wanted, but we could never afford to get her. Truth is, we can't really afford Joe neither. I keep writing to Mickey, asking him to please tell me straight out where the gold is, but he never writes back. I'll just have to keep digging. September 9th, 1935. Now I spend all my free time digging in the woods. I dig around everything could be a landmark. Logs, rocks, tree stumps, but I never find nothing. Plus I keep getting lost. The path looks so much alike, especially at night. I spend most of my time trying to figure out where I am. So last Sunday I memorized the way to the cemetery. Haha, already did that. Left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, right, left, right, right, left. February 11th, 1939. Even though Mickey never allowed the dogs in the speakeasy or the tunnels, I've been looking there for the gold because I looked everywhere else I can think of and got nowhere. Last week I found out that Mickey changed the passcode to the spigots in the speakeasy. Got my hopes up because the way I figured it, why would Mickey change the code without telling me unless he was hiding something? But when I finally figured out the new code, I didn't find nothing in the tunnel that opened up that wasn't there before. Why Mickey spent all that money on pictures of those dogs of his, I'll never understand. March 2nd, 1942. I give up. Mickey's dead and so are all his dogs. I'll never find the gold. I got a good job offer over in Harrisburg and I'm gonna take it. Little Joe and Sarah deserve a better life than they've gotten so far. And it's high time Callie got a nice house and a husband who doesn't spend all his time chasing after something he can't find. But I'm leaving this journal here, because who knows? Maybe someday I'll suddenly remember something Mickey said and it'll finally hit me where he hid the gold. Maybe I'll come back here and find it after all. But in the meantime, I got my family. They're what's important. They're treasure enough. Alright.
The dogs will lead the way. I wonder what that means.
Alright. Okay, cool journal. And we did not get diseased by the mice, which is the most important thing. Alright, I think... Whoop. Alright, we go to the ranger station again, and then I think we need to make it nighttime. And I'm a big fan of Hip to Be Square. I love that song. Alright.
Good news. I have information on your mystery woman.
Yes!
You are incredible, Ranger Akers. What did you find out?
Her name these days is Vivian Whitmore. She lives in Las Vegas, and her number is 702-555-9137.
Where's Yogi?
In the run, out back. Even out of sight, he's under my full control, as park rules require.
Sorry to bother you again, but did those results from the water test come in yet?
There's something here for you from the State Department of Health.
Okay. Oh, initial test results found high levels of arsenic.
Gosh, not only is the water bad, but it seems like the well may have been contaminated deliberately.
Yeah, do not drink or use the water from your well. Initial tests found high levels of arsenic in the samples you sent us. While it is not unusual to find trace amounts of arsenic in wells in your area, the amount in your sample far exceeded standard safety limits. Therefore, the water in your well is unsafe for any purpose. Further tests have been requested. They will take 2 weeks to complete. You will be informed as to what, if anything, they uncover.
I wouldn't
Excellent.
go jumping to conclusions without proof, Ms. Drew.
Hmm.
I'm sure there's a far less melodramatic explanation.
What do you know about a man named Joe Akers?
Why do you ask?
I recently found out that William Akers had a son.
All right, all right. William Akers was my grandfather.
And you don't want anyone to know that.
It's not exactly something I'm proud of. My father spent his whole life trying to make people forget what my grandfather was, and trying to make sure people who didn't know what he was never found out. I've been doing the same thing.
That's sad. It seems like he was a nice guy. Like, yes, he was a henchman, but he was a very loyal henchman who genuinely cared about his boss, and he genuinely loved his family. He just didn't always know what to do about that. Just saying.
What did William Akers do after Malone was arrested?
I'm afraid you're going to have to excuse me, Miss Drew. In case you've forgotten, I'm a very busy man.
Okay, he's sensitive. Got it. Head back home, probably make it nighttime again. Alright. Oh, I should call Sally and tell her I got the well water tested. I wonder if it has dialogue for that. Oh, and then we can call Vivian and ask her if she remembers Mickey Malone.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, hi. How's it going?
Let's see.
In the paperwork that you had to wade through when you bought this property, do you recall ever coming across the name Vivian Whitmore?
No, I sure don't. Who's she?
I'm still kind of trying to figure that out.
Her name wasn't anywhere on the deed. I know that.
I'm afraid I have some bad news. I had your well water tested, and according to the health department, it contains a very high level of arsenic.
Arsenic? Somebody poisoned my well?
Maybe, maybe not. The health department is running more tests. When you bought the house, did anyone mention a problem with the well?
No. And it doesn't matter. I love that house, and I am going to live in it. If that well's bad, I'll just dig another one. At least I will when I know for sure why bad things keep happening there. You are going to figure that out, right, Nancy?
You bet I am.
I knew I could count on you.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, we're gonna call Vivian, and I'm very excited about this. She's a great character, I think. 9137. Oh, this is gonna be a hoot.
If you're selling something, hang up right now. I got an air horn in my hand that could deafen a dinosaur, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Oh, no, please. I'm not selling anything. Believe me. Is this Vivian Whitmore?
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You got exactly 5 seconds to state your business.
My name is Nancy Drew. I'm calling from Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. I just wanted to ask you some questions.
Oh, right. The Moon Lake Park Ranger said you might call. But you have to talk fast. An old friend of mine is flying in today from Florida. And when I say old, I mean old, as in 5 years older than I am. Don't bother trying to do the math, sweet stuff. You'll hurt yourself. So, that ranger fella said you found an old picture of me.
I literally was trying to do the math. Like, she'd be like 100 and something. I don't know. Like, okay, she'd probably be 98, which means that her friend that's coming in would be like 103. So, something like that.
That's right. I found it in the cellar of Mickey Malone's old house on Moon Lake.
Moon Lake. Talk about your fond memories. I had a lot of fun there. Although I wasn't anywhere near as wild as most young people were back then. But I think Mickey kind of respected me for that. I was his gal for 5 years. He always kept birch beer on tap at that speakeasy of his just for me.
Tell me about the speakeasy.
It was in the basement, right there at Moon Lake. Feds never knew about it, but everybody who was anybody on the East Coast back then, actors, musicians, bankers, politicians, they knew. You weren't big time unless you'd made at least one trip to Moon Lake Mickey's.
That's weird. I'm staying in his old house on Moon Lake, and I haven't seen any sign of a speakeasy.
Course you haven't. You're not supposed to. Only Mickey and Willie knew how to get into the speakeasy from the house. The rest of us had to go in and out the regular way, through the cemetery.
Right. I just love so much that there's a speakeasy. Like, it gives the game like at least an extra 5 points.
The cemetery?
There was a lock hidden in one of the tombstones in that little cemetery behind the house. You needed a key to unlock it, and when you did, stairs would appear that led to the speakeasy.
Do you know anything about the safe that's in the cellar of his house at Moon Lake?
You must be talking about the wall safe. That was Willie's. By Willie, I mean William Akers, one of the guys who worked for Mickey.
What can you tell me about William Akers?
He was Mickey's most trusted employee. Mickey treated all his other men like dirt, but not Willie. He honestly liked Willie, respected him, trusted him implicitly.
Let's see.
William Akers, the guy you call Willie. He wrote about looking for the gold that Malone had supposedly buried on his property at Moon Lake. Do you know anything about that?
The hole in the floor gold heist. Well, I'll be darned.
That was the name Akers used, too. What else can you tell me?
Truth be told, when Mickey told me he was the one who pulled off that heist and that he'd buried 20 gold bars at Moon Lake, I didn't believe him. I thought he was making it up. See, Mickey and I were on the outs by then. I thought he was just trying to entice me to come back. But if he told Willie the same thing, maybe there's something to the story after all.
Do you have any idea where he might have hidden it?
Afraid not. Mickey was so secretive that the men who completed his house at Moon Lake were not only forbidden to talk about the work they'd done, but they were ordered to leave the state for good or else. But you know, I think he mentioned a map. Yes. He said he was making a treasure map and that... The dogs. Something about those dogs of his.
The dogs will lead the way?
He was always saying that. In fact, I'm pretty sure he had it engraved on his tombstone. Think, Viv, think! He said he was making a treasure map, and that he was also having paintings done of each dog. He made it sound like one thing had something to do with the other, like he was giving me some big important clue. But I just figured he was playing games, trying to lure me back with mystery and intrigue. I told him to buzz off. Maybe I shouldn't have.
Association says, Mrs. First, I was a bit too young to be a hippie too, but I do have a picture of my friends and me with matching outfits that were brown with huge aqua flowers all over them. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Association, I have trouble imagining you intentionally matching with a group, but that is awesome.
Did he say what he was going to do with the paintings?
He said he was going to hang them in the speakeasy, and I'm sure that's precisely what he did.
Do you have any idea how to get into Malone's speakeasy from the house?
I sure don't. That saloon was built using two main ingredients, concrete and secrecy. Mickey always bragged that nobody could get in unless he wanted them in, and I do believe he was right. But I'll tell you what, if you send me that picture of me and Mickey, I'll send you my key.
All right, have a good night, Trumpet. Good luck. Good to see you again.
The key to the tombstone? You still have it?
It's in the bottom of my jewelry box. I've come this close to throwing it out 100 times, but it's so small and the memories it brings back are so big. Well, I just couldn't, as a joke. Mickey had a tombstone made with the name of this federal agent who had it out for him inscribed on it. That's the one the key unlocks.
Can you remember anything about Malone's dogs that might suggest where he hid the gold?
I stayed away from his dogs. They made me nervous, always jumping around, barking at this or that. The only one I liked was, what was his name? Iggy! I liked Iggy because he was nice and quiet. He just lay on the porch all day and didn't make a peep.
It's been fun talking to you.
Anytime.
We love a quirky old lady who has cool stories about her past. It's a vibe. All right. All right, we're gonna make it nighttime. And we're gonna go critter hunting. Found a glowworm. Alright, let's check this side of the path. Well, two more glowworms. Alright. This first says, my family went traveling to Yellowstone and other places in our International Harvester Travelall that we use for camping. My dad built beds across the back for my brother and sister. My parents would sleep in the back with their feet under the beds, and I slept across the front seat with the dogs on the floor. My mom made flowered curtains for the windows and seat covers with floral appliques. Oh, wow. That's wonderful. said my mom would wear a skirt made from jeans with a patchwork of denim filling in between the legs along with clogs. Oh, that is iconic. I love it. Let's see, how many more places? I don't want to game for too much longer. I know if I go too long on puzzle game streams, my brain gets fried. Even if it's one where I have it half memorized. Benjamin asks, okay, I know I haven't been a freshman for almost 15 years, but are college kids getting dumber? Yes. 100% yes. Give it just a few more years and people going into college will be Cocomelon kids. Then you'll see what dumb can really look like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Is that it? Is that a dozen? Gonna count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, I believe I have a dozen. Cemetery at night is such a cool vibe. What? This is the conversation you just had is, I downloaded an installer file. What do I do with it? You run it. How? Oh no. Oh dear. Yeah, that's an iPad kid. Oh man. I wonder if I can go pester a red knot. I don't think I need to pester him for anything, but I'm gonna pester him anyway. But no, I can confirm that college freshmen are getting dumber. They're also getting more anxious. Like they have much, much higher incidences of anxiety. So that which is making them in a lot of ways more resistant to learning because they don't want to hear that they don't know everything. Like it's a whole thing.
How's the bird watching coming along?
I'm sorry, but finding those birds is harder than I thought it would be. Can you give me any tips?
You gotta look for them. This isn't gonna be any Sunday picnic, you know? And try early in the morning. That's when most of them are singing.
Mickey Malone supposedly
So
buried
grumpy.
a bunch of stolen gold bars on his property way back in the 20s. Did you know that?
Really? That's interesting. I don't much care, but it's interesting.
Excellent point, Roy. Yeah, like they're so anxious that trying to tell them something they don't know, they feel is a personal attack. So they'll freak out instead of learning from it. And that's just too stressful.
So you don't know anything about it?
Nope.
Association says maybe the fear of failure is intensified because everything we do now can be recorded for all posterity. Yes.
See you in a while.
Just remember, eyes open, mouth shut.
I definitely think that has a lot to do with it. The rise of social media has not been good for about anybody. But I say as someone who uses social media constantly, including for work, like for fun and profit. Which I wonder too about this anxiety thing, because they've done studies that show that like people who use social media more or use screens more have higher anxiety. And the kids now are being exposed to screens a lot starting from an incredibly young age. Like all these kids that have their own iPad when they're like 5. So if it increases anxiety in adults, what does it do to someone whose brain is still forming? You know? Like, not to sound like a boomer, but like I definitely am giving strong the kids these days vibes, but Benjamin says screens malforming your kids' brains. There's an app for that. I'm sure there is. I'm sure there are several.
Nice junior park ranger pin. You must really be on Acre's good side.
Thank you. I'm very proud of my junior park ranger pin. Oh yeah, Roy, we see that too. And every time we go out to dinner, we always look around and see a family, a couple with their 1.5 kids, and either the adults are talking and the kids have their own individual iPads with their little custom kitty covers for them and everything, or all 4 of them will be on smartphones. The station says, this boomer feels sorry for the young whippersnappers. Yes. Now, one thing I have been seeing, it's at least trending in the parts of the internet where I wind up, but I am seeing a lot of parents, mostly moms who are wanting to homeschool, but some just moms, sharing lists, stuff of low stimulation children's like cartoons and TV shows. So, because if you put your kids down in front of Little Bear, it's not going to have quite the same effect as when you put your kids down in front of Cocomelon. So there are some parents now who are like millennial parents who are seeing the iPad kids and what tech is doing to this generation and are thinking about what it was like when they got introduced to tech and to social media and stuff, and are trying to figure out how to dial it back a bit with their kids so that even if they're at a point where they have to use the TV as a babysitter, they're doing it in a way that's not going to cause the greatest possible amount of harm. They're doing low stimulation shows that match the kids' level of brain development instead of it all being that like bright, silly, high energy. Like they're not watching, what is the stupid thing, Blippi or something? Not Bluey, it's a different one. It's something with a grown adult man who's like bouncing. I don't know. We went to the movies a while back and there was a trailer for like, Blippi the movie or something, and it was exhausting to watch. And I would much rather watch Little Bear. Yep, Blippi.
Any word from Tucker, what's his name? He hasn't been by to move that tree yet.
I'll give him another call. But like I said, the man marches to the beat of another drummer. A very slow drummer.
So yeah, there's all these high stimulation shows that are made to distract kids, but it releases this flood of dopamine that their little toddler brains can very easily get addicted to. It's like everything is new and exciting to them. You don't need to give them the most exciting thing ever, but when you do, it forms their brains so that they don't want anything less than that. So there are parents who are pushing back and trying to find low stimulation shows that aren't going to overwhelm them like that and are designed for their age group. So Mrs. First says, I never really understood people who would choose to play really obnoxious shows to their kids who are still too young to be demanding to watch certain shows. Or who just introduce their kids. Yeah, the ones who are introducing their kids to obnoxious shows as their first entertainment. Which, my mother had a rule that we weren't allowed to watch anything that she found annoying. And I think, personally, that we all grew up with wonderful taste and discernment.
Do you know anything about the gold that Mickey Malone supposedly buried somewhere on his property?
All I got to say about it is, if there really was a bunch of gold buried somewhere and nobody ever found it, it's for darn sure nobody ever will. Not with them dogs up there.
Ooh.
Guess I'll see you later.
Always a pleasure.
All right.
Hey, Nancy, how's the
There we
name
go.
finding coming along?
Got him right here.
Well, now, you done all right for a city gal. Here you go. Hope whatever you're hiding from won't catch you. How you holding up?
What's with everyone's...
Guess I'll see you later.
Yodelay-hee-hoo.
What kind of goodbye is that? First says that's pretty much what I did with my kids, at least until they were older. When they were young and I could control what they watched, it had to be something I could stand to watch with them, yes. Which for my mom meant that we watched like nice, soothing kids shows, or we watched old black and white movies. Luke says maybe we should sign off each stream with a yodelay-hee-hoo. First says maybe some people have a higher tolerance level for some of those things, but most kids shows were not things I could stand to watch. Yes. Think. No, we're not doing Baby Shark. Can't do it. We'll do Fraggle Rock, not Baby Shark. Alright, I got my camos. I can go bird watching. Let's see. Let me check my map. Think we got that one. We need this one and this one, right? No, we got that one. We need that one and that one. Okay, so left from the yellow ribbon. Right. Okay, now I guess we did get this one. Okay. Okay, so it is the red bird that I'm missing. Red bird is past the fallen tree. Alright. We got this. Nope. Alright. Click. Okay. And then we can't find the last one until we talk to Red Knot again. Alright, well, I'm actually gonna end the stream, so... Alright. Ah, this first says, my daughter used to like watching Baby Einstein videos. I was fine with those, not because I wanted to try to make her into Einstein, but because they were just pleasant background noise. Yeah, so one of my friends used to nanny, and like we were talking recently about what kids shows would you actually allow to play in your house, and Baby Einstein was one of the ones that was on her list of, I could watch that. Those are okay. So, I don't think I ever watched that one, but it comes recommended. So, alright, I am gonna end it here. I'll save my game. Okay, Save. Then not. Nope. Okay. Yeesh, we're good. Alright. So, I will be back tomorrow, 6 o'clock Eastern. We'll be doing House Flipper. Working on the apartments. I've been putting together mood boards for those. So that I'll be all ready. But so, thank y'all so much for watching. I'm so glad you were able to spend this time with me, and I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Bye, everybody.